Adult performer Amanda Logue was at the center of a homicide investigation after her and her boyfriend murdered a man in cold blood. It was a planned home robbery that ended in a bloody crime scene. She tried to play victim, but detectives exposed her lies and uncovered the truth about her involvement. Originally born as Amanda Bailey, she was raised in Leesburg, Georgia, and lived with her single mother. Amanda was pregnant her senior year of high school and described her baby daddy as abusive, and they frequently fought throughout the relationship. After her mom died, she turned to substances and described this time in her life as very traumatic. Amanda married a former police officer named Logue, and she was the sole provider of the relationship. She worked as a lingerie and foot fetish model and later transitioned into bondage photo shoots. By 2007, Amanda started performing in adult films going by the name Sunny Day. She also worked as an escort under the guise of a Craigslist massage therapist. In 2009, she met Jason Andrews, who was a nightclub DJ and part-time, gay-for-pay performer. He was described as a charismatic man who frequently boasted and exaggerated stories about his time in the military. They formed a strong relationship through making films together, sleeping together, and were inseparable. In 2010, Amanda's husband confronted Jason, who then brandished a gun during their heated argument. After this incident, the couple fled to New York in search of opportunity. They filmed a parody video of the infamous movie Natural Born Killers. This movie is about a couple that drives around the country killing people for fun. The movie's plot are similar to the events that are about to transpire. Eventually, they drive down to Florida where Amanda begins working as a massage therapist for hire on Craigslist. She begins seeing a regular client named Dennis Scooter Abrahamson. Each time she visited Dennis, Jason would tag along as a bodyguard. Unbeknownst to Dennis, the couple were scouting out his apartment looking for things to steal. Dennis was connected to local motorcycle gangs and owned a tattoo shop along with the repo business. On May 15th, 2010, Amanda planned a robbery during one of her massage appointments with Dennis. Jason waited in the car while Amanda worked on Dennis. Around 4 a.m., she texted Jason, telling him to come inside. Jason grabbed a sledgehammer he found in the house, then slammed the weapon on the back of Dennis's head. He was still on the massage table when the first blow instantly killed him. Dennis was hit 15 times with the hammer, then stabbed multiple times with the kitchen knife. The couple ransacked his house and stole $6,000 worth of cameras, electronics, and credit cards. By 5 a.m., they fled the scene and headed to a nearby gas station, where they tried to cover up their tracks by tweeting their locations on Twitter. Police discovered Dennis's body on the massage table and found the murder weapons in a basket near his body. Jason realized it was only a matter of time before they got caught, so they blew all their money on drugs and alcohol. Because of this, they resorted to robbery, and they were later caught for a robbery that went wrong. During the arrest, police acquired their cell phones during a vehicle search. They were able to post bail because police were unaware of their previous crimes. Jason found work at a cigar lounge in Tennessee, and Amanda returned home to be with her 9-year-old daughter as if nothing ever happened. Once police discovered their text messages, both of them were arrested on suspicion of murder. In the interrogation room, Jason confessed to everything, while Amanda tried to portray herself as a victim. Police knew she orchestrated the robbery and was a willing participant in the murder. Jason was given life without parole, and Amanda received 40 years in prison. Ron Jermey was one of the most famous adult film stars of all time. He appeared in popular music videos, blockbuster films, and video games. He was most known for performing fellatio on himself, having a massive dong, and filming over 2,000 adult films. Later in his career, Ron Jermey was accused of horrendous crimes against women and faced several years in prison. Ron Jermey was born in 1953 to an upper-class Jewish family in Queens, New York. His father was a physicist and educator, while his mother worked as a writer after working in the United States Agency during World War II. Ron earned his bachelor's and master's degree to become a special education teacher. He had dreams of becoming a famous actor and wasn't happy with the money he made from teaching. He tried finding work as an actor in New York but was making little to no money. His girlfriend, Alice, told him to take nude photos as a way to boost his acting career. She sent the photos to various talent agencies, and it was later discovered by Playgirl. Playgirl bought the photos and gave him his first big break within the industry. He was later contacted by a casting agency to perform in a new adult film. At first, he refused to work with them because he thought pornos were sleazy, but after not making any money in acting, he decided to take the job. Throughout the late 70s and early 90s, Ron had filmed over 2,000 adult films and was the Guinness World Record holder for most adult films of all time. Ron was different from other performers because he didn't have an athletic body and had a charming personality. His nickname was the Hedgehog because he was a short, hairy dude and funny to be around. Ron expanded his reach outside of the industry by collabing with musicians, comedians, and actors. He made several appearances in movies, TV shows, and accepted every interview that came his way. By 2001, Ron Jermey was the most famous adult performer of all time and was featured in a full-length documentary. Behind all the fame and notoriety, there was a horrible truth to Ron's character. First of all, he was notorious for having poor hygiene, was unprofessional during shoots, and unpleasant to work with. By 2017, numerous women publicly accused him of misconduct. In total, 21 women came forward to explain that Ron had assaulted them. These incidents took place at his home, nightclubs, filming studios, and restaurants. Several agencies within the adult industry began severing ties with Ron as more allegations came out. By August 2021, Ron Jermey was indicted on over 30 felony assault counts. He was given a laundry list of charges and was facing serious time in prison. During his trial, Ron was suffering from dementia and his neurocognitive ability was declining. The judge ruled him unfit to stand trial and all charges were dropped. Ron Jermey was one of the only adult performers to break into mainstream Hollywood only to use his power to commit horrendous crimes. Stephen Clancy Hill was an up-and-coming adult performer that ruined his life after brutally attacking several people. Armed with a samurai sword, he confronted SWAT officers on a cliff when things took a turn for the worse. Stephen was born on May 8th, 1976 in Riverdale Park, Maryland. He was described as articulate, intelligent, and ambitious. He attended the University of Maryland and majored in economics. In 1998, while attending university, he was arrested and charged for assaulting a student aide with a handgun. He was pissed off because the student aide wouldn't give him an A+ on a test he didn't take. He was kicked out of school and sentenced to 18 months of house arrest. Stephen isolated himself in his bedroom and racked up credit card debt by purchasing unhealthy amounts of internet porn. After his sentence, he struggled to hold a job because of his lousy credit and terrible criminal record. In late 2006, his parents helped him move to Los Angeles so he could find work as an action movie star. Stephen ended up getting hired as a mope, which is a low-level porn star. Under the stage name Steven Driver, other performers described him as mediocre at best as he struggled to perform during filming. Female performers complained about his poor hygiene, which further lowered his status within the industry. He was able to secure a role in a Barack Obama parody video called Palin Erection 2008. During this time, Stephen befriended another performer named Herbert Wong, and the two became close friends. Stephen spiraled into a depression after struggling to find success within the industry. On a phone call with his father, he told him that he was going to end it all and take people with him. His father immediately called police and Stephen was held for 72 hours in a psychiatric facility. He was going to go into a rehabilitation program but decided not to go after Herbert got him a job at Ultima DVD, a company that specialized in fetish films. By 2009, Stephen was working at the studio as an errand boy and part-time adult performer. His homie got him a job at the studio, they paid him good money, gave him a place to sleep, only for him to ruin his opportunity by crashing out. Former employees described his time at the company as problematic, and everything he did needed to be redone. He was later fired for his lousy work ethic and terrible reaction to criticism. In June of 2010, studio manager Christopher Rachel told Stephen to leave when he attacked him with a samurai sword. Herbert and a nearby neighbor tried to stop Stephen from killing Christopher. He responded by slashing all three men and attempted to run over the studio's owner before fleeing the scene. All three victims were taken to the hospital where Herbert eventually died from his injuries. It took police 4 days to locate Stephen after a pedestrian identified him in the West Hills area of Los Angeles. When he spotted police, he ran to a nearby cliff while holding the samurai sword he used to attack previous victims. SWAT officers confronted Stephen on a cliff where he threatened to take his own life if they came near him. After 9 hours of negotiations, police shot Stephen with non-lethal rounds, striking him in the right shoulder. Stephen got closer to the edge before jumping off and slamming 50 feet onto the rocks below. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. In 2019, a movie named Mope premiered at the Sundance Film Festival that depicted the life and death of Stephen Hill. Trigger warning, this next story is brutal and has some serious topics, so this is your trigger warning. Chelsea Perkins, aka Selena Savage, was an OnlyFans creator and adult performer who made headline news after shooting the man who allegedly raped her. Chelsea is a Coast Guard veteran who married a man she met during service. The couple had 2 children together and she started making adult content to support her family. Chelsea planned a revenge plot after contacting an old friend named Mathew Dunmire. I use the term friend loosely because they did have a complicated history. They knew each other for several years before the murder. In 2017, Chelsea accused Mathew of but police didn't have enough evidence to make an arrest. After their falling out, Mathew went on to focus on his music career, and Chelsea started a family after leaving the Coast Guard. In March of 2021, Chelsea and Mathew were going to plan a hangout together, which is weird because Mathew had his own family and she had her own family, so it was pretty weird for them to reconnect. This was all part of her plan. She used her husband's car to drive 300 miles from Virginia to Ohio. She brought a 9mm pistol and made arrangements to spend a couple days with Mathew. Later that evening, she met Mathew outside a bar he frequented at. His coworkers noticed him getting into the vehicle, and that was the last time they ever saw him alive. They spent the night together at an Airbnb before leaving for a hiking trip in the morning. They walked past a cemetery, crossed ravines, and continued into a secluded area of the woods. Chelsea pulled out her pistol, then shot Mathew in the back of the head. She made her way back to the vehicle, then drove to Michigan for a tattoo appointment. She tattooed a noose on her forearm before going back to Virginia. Mathew's body was found 3 days later by hikers and they contacted police. Since the homicide took place on federal land, the FBI, park rangers, local police, and state authorities each joined in on the investigation. The first thing they did was question hikers who claimed to have seen Chelsea leaving the area after they heard a gunshot. They also found her DNA at the crime scene and were able to use cell phone records to track her locations. Police got a search warrant and raided her home and found 3 9mm pistols, her cell phone, and ammunition. Police found a note she deleted on her phone. It was a Side note that she wrote to make it seem like Mathew was gonna take himself out. The ballistic seams also matched the weapon she had to the weapon used in the murder. 1 month before she was gonna be arrested, the victim's mother, Tommy Lynn Dunmire, was undergoing her own investigation. She went through Mathew's old contacts to see if she could locate the killer. Her and her husband drove to Washington, D.C. to confront a woman who she believed murdered her son. She dressed like a UPS worker, then knocked on the woman's door. The woman opened the door and was immediately shot by Tommy. Police quickly identified the vehicle, and when they tried arresting her, she fatally shot herself on the passenger side of the vehicle. The woman who was shot had nothing to do with her son's murder, and she survived from her injuries. In December of 2021, Chelsea was arrested for the murder of Mathew Dunmire. She was given 22 years in prison and refused to pay restitution to the victim's family. I want to say thank you for 10,000 subscribers. I'm excited to see this channel is growing. I got a bunch of new videos planned, but thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving comments on my video. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Get exercise, eat healthy, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Hey!